Hi Aries, today we're going to talk about a very critical transit which will have an impact on you over the course of next 18 months, which is North Node moving into your house of communication, North Node moving into your house of mind, commercial skill set. This is a very important change and it happens once in 18 and a half years. So it's a rare transit. North Node movement is a very important shift for us. North Node is not a planet, it is a point. It is a point where the moon crosses the ecliptic. It is considered to be a karmic point. Wherever we see a North Node transit happening, that becomes the area of growth for us over the course of next couple of months. So starting from 5th of May all the way till 18th of January 2022, this would be the area where you will get opportunities of growth, where the material success can be achieved, where we will be driven to explore the untapped potential we have. There will be new experiences. You'll have the drive to go there. You'll have a drive to create something material in that area of your life. You'll have new possibilities. It's a point of growth. Similarly, the opposite side of it, where South Node or Ketu is, that becomes the point of release. And that is your house of ideologies. That becomes the house of moksha. So, the higher knowledge or the education that we have, or the global view that we have, that becomes a support system for us. But that is not where the material growth will come through. We'll talk about it in concrete terms. What does that mean? What kind of projects, what kind of jobs, what kind of things you should be involved in, which will help you be successful over the course of next 18 months. But you have to keep that in mind that this is a transit. It does not define your career, but it will help you define how best to do your career, how best to live your life, to be successful, both emotionally as well as professionally, because it is sort of a guiding light. I use North Node transit as a guiding light to help me see what is the way to be for me to be in flow of the energy and make use of the transits that are coming for me. That is where the eclipses will be happening as well. Over the course of next 18 months, you will be seeing eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius, which is your house of mind, of communication, of education. And this is a big shift. You're coming from a time, the last 18 months, all the eclipses were happening in your house of home and career. This is a very big shift to happen. Because to be very honest, the eclipses in your house of career and house, which is a critical area of your life, home, family, your relationship with your family, what kind of job you are in, having eclipses in these areas of your life can be a little bit unsettling. But critical changes happen for us when we are having eclipses in this area of our life. Moving on to the next 18 months, you'll see growth coming from your exposure to other people. The last 18 months, the growth has come from within. It was the time to work on yourself. It was the time to work on your inner sense of worth. There was more inward focus over the course of last 18 months. It doesn't mean that we were not involved in the outer world. We were working, there was focus on job, but the end goal was not to be looked at as a leader. The end goal was to take care of you, to know more about you, to create a solid personal foundation, to create a solid foundation for you to be operating in the outer world. And now becomes the time when we have to come out of that cocoon and go out and interact with the world. So the next 18 months, in short, in brief words, would be very social, would be very outward focus. Last time we had this transit was about 18 and a half years back. It was here around 14th of October 2001 to 14th of April 2003. So if you're old enough, maybe look back at the time and see what happened in your life between 2001 and 2003, which was significant in nature. What kind of shifts happened in your life? I'll walk you through the shifts which I think could happen, and how we should handle it. There's a shift in how we are supposed to think, talk, communicate, and handle commercial transactions when these nodes access our house of mind. It becomes the time to move away from theoretical knowledge to practical skills. We move away from theory, we move away from higher knowledge. It doesn't mean that we abandon higher knowledge, philosophy, even astrology, gurus, teacher, all the spiritual ideologies, they become a source of mental support to us. They're still part of our inner growth, but they will not be part of your outer manifestation. The outer manifestation has to be through developing practical skills where you can use this higher knowledge in a day to day commercial basis. Basic, simple commercial application of your higher knowledge is required. And at the start of this transit, you may not feel sure how to monetize what you know. There is a lot of knowledge, Aries, that we have accumulated over the course of last couple of years, especially last year when Jupiter was in our house of knowledge. Our mind was like a sponge. Many of us have learned the skill sets we did not know before. A lot of that skill set is at 30,000 feet though. In the next 18 months, we'll be learning how to create monetary value, physical value, material value out of our knowledge. This is like moving from having a college education to a job, on the job training. It is like figuring out the street smart ways of using what you already know and quickly coming up the curve on sales skill, on marketing skills, on social media skills. The skills to make money in a commercial way, using our writing skills, using our communication skills. This is not a dreamy energy. This is real. This is practical. This is social. We have to be more connected with our co-workers and with our surrounding. And this is a shift that we'll have to make at a conscious level. Wherever North Node or Rahu is, we have to put conscious efforts into it. It does not come naturally to us because that is an area of growth for us. But the more we'll work on it, the more results that's going to yield over the course of next 18 months. So I'll give you an example. For example, in the last couple of months, especially the last 18 months, you might have been working either as a head of a unit, or you might have been working in isolation or alone or doing your own thing. Now going forward, you would be required to connect with your co-workers, connect with your community, connect with your immediate environment a lot more. You'll need to work together with people a lot more socially as compared to before. And the skill sets that you'll be using will be practical. We have to keep it simple right now. We have to keep it, it doesn't mean that it is not intellectual. Gemini is very intellectual sign. North Node is in Gemini. We are required to use intellectual skill set, but they have to be applicable in the daily life. So it will be required, for example, in your day-to-day communication, the things that you're talking to your clients about, the things that you're talking to your audience about, the things that you're talking to your co-workers about, they have to have a practical underpinning to it. Simply a feeling, a thought process, a faith is not going to do it. So in the field of media, in the field of entertainment, in the field of working on written skills, writing, journalism, reporting things, we would have to use the left brain here. The left brain is the tactical, practical side of us, which uses crafts, which uses hands, which uses data analysis, which uses information, which uses technical skills, business skill. This is the house of self-made wealth. The skill set that you and I will be acquiring over the course of next 18 months are going to be the ones that will help us become commercially independent. This is where the commercial independent businesses thrive. But in order for them to thrive, the messaging has to be simple, the offering has to be simple, the offering has to be not 30,000 feet, it has to appeal to normal people, it has to appeal to general people, it has to appeal to the people who understand simple, quick information. The information has to be quick, the information has to be practical. And there has to be media involvement in it. There has to be marketing involvement into it. The new tech environment in it. Don't look for growth in abstract is what I'm trying to say. The growth in abstract or philosophy that will come for you, it will be coming for your soul, not for your material growth. Your ninth house, the house in which we grow, in our faith, in our religion, in our philosophy, in our knowledge of the world, the 30,000 feet knowledge that we have acquired over the course of last couple of months, over the course of last 18 months, our mind has been expanded because of Jupiter being there. It has opened our eyes to possibilities that we did not see before. But now we bring that down to the ground and find commercial applicable projects for them. We put those things down to the paper. This is nose to the grind work. This is busy house. This is learning to communicate clearly. This is learning to connect well with your co-workers in community, in your local environment. There is a need to attach and gain from your local community here. The help and the support and the opportunities that you're going to get and that you need right now will be available to you in your immediate environments, not far away from you. This is developing capacity to think rationally, logically, rather than being swayed by blind faith. Ninth house, where South Node is blind faith. Having faith in life, having faith in universe, and all of that is great for your soul, but for your commercial reality, you'll have to develop capacity to think independently without emotions. Your higher knowledge and intuition will give you great grounding, but how to integrate that into your daily life will be our challenge. Explore possibilities. Wherever Gemini is, we get multiple things. We get the capacity to multitask, to multiple projects. There will be tools in your immediate surrounding that will help you originate multiple contracts, multiple commercial opportunities. You learn to seek for them. You learn to seek opportunities of commercial nature. You learn how to document those opportunities, how to create contracts that will serve you well. Focus on facts, not ideologies, because what happens in the when the nodes are in Gemini and Sagittarius, and we saw this in 2001 and 2003, which was the aftermath of the unfortunate 9/11 at the time. If you would remember, there was a lot of extreme ideological behaviors which were happening at the time. There was fear in the air due to incorrect information, due to excessive information, due to conspiracy theories, due to lies, due to loss of faith, due to losing the big picture at the time, loss of truth at the time, loss of belief. Loss of travel, connectivity, global connectivity was lost at the time. Thinking of the time right after 9/11, the thought process that was there, the whole old belief system had to be erased at the time. The whole transport and international travel business at the time was completely eliminated to create a new way. There will be sudden changes which will come on the other side, which is in our immediate environment. Don't get lost on ideological warfare right now. I'm not saying that we should not be aware of what's happening, but the road to success is not to get into extreme ideologies. You will be going towards the South Node, which is a point of release, of loss, if we'll be doing that. Instead of that, staying in the moment, looking at the data as the facts that we have in front of us, not making assumptions, learning to make decision on the data which is provided to us right now without prejudice. When South Node is in our house of ideology, the old ideology has to be exited. We have to almost empty a part of our brain and fill it with fresh information. We have to live in the now, the here and now, in this moment, getting lost in big picture, thinking about, oh, what is the big picture? Where are we going to be in 2050? Is the world going to exist after 20 years or not? All those ideologies, while they're important for us, but right now, over the course of next 18 months, that's not going to serve you. As I was telling you in the part 1 of the video, we will stop seeing people talking about 2030 plans. You remember we spent most of the last couple of years talking about 2020 plans, and all of those 2020 plans went into the dustbin. And exactly that is the point. We have to stay in the now, learning what works now, learning a lot, getting into the trends on learning, teaching. What would be lucrative for you? Learning, teaching, education, communication, scales, marketing, journalism, keeping up to date on the state of our devices that are used to communicate with people, social media, being up to date on social media, trying out new ways of connecting with people, constantly being in the know. More focus now is on what's happening right now versus global truths. You'll see that has to transform in the way I do my messaging as well. I focus a lot on the spiritual side of astrology and looking more towards the practical side of it. Not trying to convince anyone of your ideology, because as soon as you'll try to convince somebody on things based on your faith, this is the time when we lose that battle. This is the time to use data, facts, releasing the need to agree on opinions. People around you are going to have ideology and opinions different from you. You cannot exclude 50% of the world from your surrounding. So, trying to convince anyone of your ideology is going to be a fallacy. We will fail there. Not making assumption on what people think. Just ask them. When you think that somebody, you don't know what's going on in another person's mind, asking them what's going on. And many of these things are generally good to do, but they become the road to success over the course of the next 18 months because of the way the nodes are. Not making assumptions on what people are thinking about what you have done. Flexibility of the mind. Learning to listen more, learning to understand both sides of an equation. Gemini is a dual sign, looking at both sides of the equation. And I'm saying Gemini because North Node will be in the zodiac sign of Gemini. So we have to acquire the qualities of Gemini in our communication, in our mind. Learning to listen more, knowing the art of conversation, mastering the art of conversation is the road to success, where we sort of ask more questions versus telling more. This is where preaching goes out of the window. Ninth house, where your south node is, which we have to release, is the house of being a guru, is the house of preaching. Third house is the house of selling. There's a difference between the two. One is where you're trying to preach, and the other is where you're trying to understand what the client is saying. So there is a ask but not tell. There's more questions, more inquisitiveness versus giving answers to others. Information, more and more information. You're going to absorb so much information from your immediate people, co-workers, people that you interact with. This is the time when you can just suddenly upgrade your knowledge by an enormous amount. Because the eclipses, they bring about changes that would normally take many years to come. So commercial skills that would normally take you a very long time to acquire, this is the time when you can do that. And these are practical skill set that can sort of, yield revenue to you. Standalone businesses can be made out of them. These are language skills, communication skills, devices that are used to connect with people. There's no need to accept any established opinions anymore. Because when South Node is in Sagittarius, established opinions, faith, religion, all belief system, they go out of the window. So none of the opinions are absolute truth anymore. This is like having an unconditioned mind, and that is the road to success. Having an unconditioned mind. This is the time to get inquisitive, right? Without the need to be correct. We don't have to be exact about things. The more and more you'll try to be perfect about what you're writing, you're going to miss the train, because Gemini is speed. And this is something that I tell myself. I like to know all the transit before I do these videos. It's something that it's my Virgo side of me as well. But there is, if you get stuck in getting it right, getting it exact, you're going to miss the train, because Gemini, North Node, the road to success is to be quick, is to have the information timely available. You're interacting and connecting with people about what's happening right now, moving from higher knowledge, complex ideas to simplicity. There's a degree of simplicity and speed that needs to be added to our communication, and it may not hold. You will find that people don't want to listen to long sermons, and I'm already seeing that. What gets people's attention more? You memes. I'm telling you, this is how it is. If you want to convey a complex communication to a person, put it in a comic witty format, and that's what gets the point across. And that's true for business communication, keeping it light, keeping it witty. It's still skilled. It still has intellectual backing to it. I'm not saying to make it frivolous, but you have to make it light, you have to make it quick, you have to make it not a long sermon, you have to not make it into a long speech. I'm telling myself, when I do that, I'm a Aries sun and moon as well, people will be more interested in snippets. Okay, getting into communication which is quick, which has snippets, which is quippy, which gets people's attention quickly. This is like people will have attention of goldfish. I think that's what. Yeah. So get into quippy communication, local communication. Come with more local knowledge rather than global. The business will be done more localized right now. And again, I go back to post 9/11 time. Look at how trade was at the time. Look at how it was localized businesses. You'll find local businesses which focus on local community doing better. So the communication has to be local. Growth will not come from far off lands. Growth will not far off lands and people who are different from you, the ideologies that are different from you, they can be part of your spiritual quest. They can still be part of your spiritual support system, because we are not being asked to abandon faith. We are being asked to not rely on faith to create material value for us. We are being asked to not look for security in philosophy. We are being asked to not lose touch with daily life, because we are looking at where are we going. And again, I'm saying this against the whole logic of astrology to some extent. But the way all of us do our businesses, whether it is spiritual business, whether, when I say spiritual business, if you are a spiritual speaker, you have to talk in practical terms. If you are an inspirational speaker, you have to talk in practical terms. There are no fixed belief systems. We are being reborn in terms of our mind here. Similarly, there will be a compulsion to learn something about everything. You'll find yourself a little bit almost scattered to some extent, and that is the way to be. You're going to become jack of multiple trades to some extent, but your south node will keep you grounded. What gives you comfort? What brings you comfort is a wrong word. What gives you that feeling inside of groundedness? You'll find one skill set that will bring you that. So my suggestion is the issue with this placement, this transit that happens, is that we tend to have our hands in multiple buckets, and that becomes an issue sometimes because we are too scattered for attention at the time. So be careful of getting involved in multiple projects that are not worth you. They're not worth your time. And I discussed that in Venus retrograde as well, because Venus is going retrograde from 13th of May. So this period of 13th of May till about 25th of June, with Venus being retrograde, that will give us guidance on what brings us enough worth, what gives us value, what appeals to us, what do we love to do. If there are multiple commercial projects or contracts that we are involved in, we got to sort of narrow that down. You would still be learning a lot about everything and everything, but you have to allow yourself to engage in activities and intent that are more involved. Otherwise, you will be left on the surface of things. That's the fallacy of the archetype of Gemini zodiac as well, that sometimes we don't go deep enough to achieve, So you have to be careful about that we have to choose a few things that we finally do well in. Include yourself in activities which involve your neighbor. You'll be more involved in social activities. Say yes to social engagements, even if they're online. Try to reach out to people. Say yes to participation. Say yes to participation with your immediate environment. If your neighbor comes and he wants to share cookies with you, or you need to go out and get involved in your local community. You'll get ideas from it. You'll get comfort from it. You'll get growth opportunities from it. You'll get business ideas from it. You'll learn from them. You learn a different skill set from them. Learning languages. This is a perfect time to learn languages. Connect in language of other people. It's an opportunity to advance your intellectual prowess. You'll be absorbing thoughts, behaviors of people in your surroundings. So if there's a French person in your surrounding and you want to learn French, the easiest way to do is to interact more with that person and connect with them more. And you both can share intellectual values with each other. A person who can sort of do that without hang-ups is the road to success here, without being weighed down by, oh my God, what's happening in the world, what's happening over there. I'm not saying to not know that, but we are missing the now in doing that. We're missing the chance of making this into a success, this time into a success. Person who can weigh the alternatives, see the both sides, see the positive as well as the negative in a situation, who can project outcomes to some extent using the data available to them right now, who can see the trends on the basis. This is all about data analysis. A person who's able to analyze the data and project certain outcomes, that is the person who knows the road to success. Adapting, integrating what you already know into practical process pursuits. So if you already acquired an education, maybe you went for a higher education, or maybe you learned more on job last year, this is the time to put that into practice. I've been told this many times. Sometimes what happens is that we keep on moving into a job which helps us learn more, right? It's a standard thing. As Aries, we like to do that. Move into a job that will help me expand my mind. I learn more. But this is the time for you to contribute. This is the time when what you already know, you need to use that to create commercial success. This is the time when we go and be the salesperson on the street. It's the time to start doing things. It's the time of doing versus being in university. For road to success for us is to be doing things. Even if you take a course, it has to be on something that you can implement now. Learning connection between information. How do I connect this X to Y to Z and create a commercial opportunity out of that? This is very good for markets, for example. If you are in trading, or if you are in finance, for example, or if you are in a creative field, even where you have to connect the dots and create something written out of that, using the information which is coming towards you. This is a time when you can take a lot of information. You can take humongous amount of reading, humongous amount of data, and you can process that. You can process that into logical output. You're like that mainframe machine, essentially, where data is coming in, and without being influenced by that data, without letting your mind get bent by that data, you're able to independently analyze that and give something logical as a conclusion out of that without adding any prejudice to it. It's a time to take responsibility for information, who you share that information with, and how you share it. You have to be responsible when it comes to data laws. You have to be careful about that. There can be a loss related to legal actions. It's not a good time to be involved in legal actions. You have to stay away from legal issues during this time, because South Node is in the house of legal activities. So it's not the best time to be suing anybody or getting sued by anybody. You have to be careful about responsible share of data, putting the right disclaimers in place. You will you want to have a place on the table when it comes to social life. And you will find yourself have the courage to sit on the table, have the courage to have a stance. Stance in the sense that you want to speak up. You'll want to speak here. You'll want to acquire information from multiple sources, verify it, and then share it quickly, immediately. Impart your totally impartial opinion without including your likes and dislikes into it. This is a very tricky thing to do. Whenever an information comes to us through many sources as human beings, that's natural. We tend to put our bias on it. You're being asked to quickly, immediately impart your completely impartial opinion, purely based on data with others. Clearly impart what you know without coloring that information with your personal perception or belief system. Staying impartial, non judgmental, learning to keep your judgments to you to some extent. What will happen is that a lot of people are going to get very sensitive about their ideologies. We already see that. We'll have Saturn square Uranus next year, which we are seeing sort of a preview of right now. People will have ideological fights with each other when that happens. People who've been told that their opinion is way out there and hence they should not speak up, they'll start revolting. And we'll see that division increasingly in 2021. So you have to be we have to learn to keep our judgments to us here. It doesn't mean that we are suppressing our freedom of speech. We are being mindful of other person's opinion, and we are being mindful of what we know is going to happen. That difference in ideology, if you'll try to convince somebody about your ideology, it's not going to be successful. It's not going to be a road to success. And this is especially true when it comes to if you are in a field of reporting something, if you're in the field of information, which most of us are in. Every part of our job has got to do with communication. So it's pretty much every job where you have to be careful about not coloring the information with our judgment. Analyze, attribute the information, give clear credit to the source of data, but don't share new information through the lens of your belief system. Don't express thoughts based on perceived reality. And all of us, even if we think we don't have it, we all have a belief system. Because what happened last year was that Jupiter was in our house of belief system. In Sagittarius, all of us have got an opinion about everything. When Jupiter has been in Sagittarius, everybody develops an opinion about everything. Even your grandmother, grandfather who hasn't seen anything about any new technology will have a view on Zoom, for example. So I'm just saying, everybody and anybody has got an opinion about everything, and it is a result of Sagittarius Jupiter, which expands our ideology, gives us comfort and faith in our ideology. And now with South Node over there, we are being told to be reserved about it. We're being told to pare down some of the over the top ideas as well. When South Node is in Sagittarius, we are being told that there were a lot of ideas that we came up with last year when Jupiter was in Sagittarius. Some of them were out there. They were not practical. They were great to bring you spiritual growth, but maybe they don't have commercial value. It's the time to pare some of them down. We with an ease will connect with people of different background, different religion, as long as we stay neutral. As long as we stay neutral, you will be able to reach a wider set of audience. But only speaking about our own ideology will not serve you well with them. There's another thing that South Node in Sagittarius represents, which you want to be a little bit careful of. South Node in Sagittarius speaks only when they are asked. This is a very important, very subtle but important point of practical importance to us Aries. Speaking only when you are asked to speak. Who does that? Teachers, gurus. Please give us your opinion. You're being put on a stage and then asked to do it. This is a habit or a quality that we have to move away from during this time. It will not serve us well. Only taking the seat when we've been asked to take the seat is not going to sort of serve us well. We have to speak up when we know. We have to just speak up on our own. We don't have to wait to be told to share our opinion. The belief that opinion of people around you is more important than data, than news, than facts, than the concepts that you know is a policy we have to move away from. This belief we have to exit, that the opinion of people around you is more important than what you have to share. Speaking only when someone asks is something as a behavior Aries will have to move away from. You'll feel very connected to your faith, to your spirituality, which you have sort of grown into over the course of last year. But this faith has to play a role in your ability to speak up. Use that South Node and Sagittarius faith in yourself to now speak outside. Communicate outside. Do you need to release some old belief system that is not letting you speak up? And it's going to show up in the eclipse that we're going to have in June itself. We're going to have an eclipse on 5th of June in Sagittarius. This is like, we've not yet done with everything in January. The eclipse is in January and now the new set of eclipses are coming. But that's life. So 5th of June, we have an eclipse happening. It's a full moon. It's a lunar eclipse. Whenever there's a lunar eclipse, some chapter of our life complete. Something has to be finished. And with South Node, something has to be detached from and released. There could be an old project that you need to complete and be done with. You might have to deliver something which is publication related, writing, advertisement, cross-border trade related. You need to speak something, you need to deliver something. There could be a long journey that you had to conduct. Maybe you have to conduct that training or something through online means. There could be an international connection or matter or a foreign affair that can come to light. There could be a personal relationship with a foreigner that can come to light. Something has to be completed and be done with. And this is something that you have to move away from for you to gain. And this will play psychologically on us in our mind for sure. Because Mars, our ruler, will make a square, a T-square, a mutable T-square with this eclipse. A mutable T-square is all about mental conflict. It's all about moving away from a mental conflict, which is not letting us move forward. There is a blockage, a fear, a past failure, a lack of faith in ourselves, which is not letting you speak your mind. And we will be confronted with that from mid of May itself. Mars will enter your house of your 12th house from 13th of May. When Mars is here, we are preparing for a battle. And Aries will be doing nothing short of that from mid of May. Because you know what? From 27th of June for 6 months, Mars, our ruler, is going to be in our sign. This is fabulous. This is like once in, last time Mars was 6 months in our sign was in 1988. This is enormous energy, courage to get whatever the hell we want. I mean, seriously, I'm really looking forward to this. 27th of June onwards, we're going to get like really ready for a battle. So before that, it's like, you take a step back because you got to clear something out. You got to clear your closet before that happens. So between 13th of May to 27th of June, we all are going to be preparing for a battle. There'll be a lot of work getting done in isolation, behind the scene, not in the spotlight. You'll be paying your dues. You'll be getting rid of something. You can feel a little bit restless because it's not a natural way of being. It's going to be a little bit sleepless. This is where you are going to get rid of something. You're going to get rid of an ideology that does not let you speak, that makes you wait to be given a seat on the table, that makes you wait for somebody to ask you to give your opinion about something. You will be sort of challenged in your faith even at the time. Because sometimes without practice the faith is of no use. If we just say we believe in God, we have faith, but then our actions don't represent that we have faith in any higher power, because we are living in fear, or we are not actually getting over our own resistance. We are not taking a leap of faith because we are afraid of something. You're not living your faith. Faith without action, without actual execution, is of no use. So your faith will be challenged. You'll be challenged to get rid of an old way of being. There's a closet that needs to be emptied, and that closet is possibly filled of some old belief system of fear that needs to be exited. And we'll feel that very, very strongly from mid of May itself when this process starts. And in the first week of June, when we have this eclipse, there could be something that needs to be closed off, that needs to be given up. This is a positive aspect with us. It adds to us, it helps us. It will help us in the second half of the year when Mars is there 6 months in our sign. This is a very rare transit. We have to use it to get something that we have never done before. We have to, it's sort of courage to do something we have not done before. So before that, you'll be using that eclipse to get rid of something. So things to channel this into. Yeah, this is your house. This is the house of Mercury, right? So being a communicator, being a journalist, being a broadcaster, being a researcher, becoming an academician in something, delivering messages. It's like being a channel, it's exactly like being a channel. How is a channel effective? A channel is effective when it sort of just is open to receiving informations and conveying them. And what it does is that it is a good interpreter. It's able to interpret a hint, a intuition, a message, and convey that. So we have to be like a channel, being a channel of some sort, being a intermediary of some sort is an important role to be in during this time. So the professions that have to deal with clear, concise information, which are like a channel delivery, information impartially without prejudice is being communicated, is sort of you can almost appear heartless, if I may say, in some ways. And that's the negative side of it, because, we are not infusing any emotions when we are going to be conveying the stuff we'll be conveying. You have to sort of be a little bit impartial in that, and that can seem like heartless, even flippant or cruel to others, and that's something that we have to be a little bit careful about as coming across cold to people in our communication, because we'll be trying to keep it light. So be a little bit careful of that. You'll be drawn to trade as sort of you'll be drawn to being a bridge between people, like a trade negotiator or a person who's sort of a bridge between people. And multitasking will be your middle name. You'll be doing multiple talents, intense, key skills, and that's the right way to happen. Key to happiness is going to be being quick, being witty, doing impressions. You'll get a lot of chances to acquire intellectual information. And we can be drawn to gossips. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be you'll be in when we are in middle of a lot of news, a lot of information. We are in middle of gossip, so you have to be a little bit careful of that. The issue that you'll face besides the gossip is the problem of plenty. As I said, there'll be too many messages, too many interests. Will you work in media? Do you want to work with children who need communication skills? Will you work in trade? Will you be learning language? Will I travel in my local community? Will I do studies? I'll become a neighborhood gossip? I mean, there are like multiple ways to use this, but what's valuable to you? What brings you value? What brings you fulfillment? You want to be a positive bridge. You want to be the connector between different ideas, cultures, people, but you sort of want to convey positivity in that information. So be mindful of that. Use your ninth house to do that. Use your inner radar to do that. Sometimes, we are... sorry, I had to take a little bit of break. Sometimes we are just comfortable absorbing information, and many of us do that theoretically, just researching. Keep a note for you, like when you're getting into a project, just have like a chit written over there. What were you trying to achieve out of it? Like sometimes what will happen, and you'll experience that, especially when you're dabbling with a lot of information, because the road to success is to be in the field of communication right now, or information. You will get lost in the knowledge, the theory of it all, the beauty of understanding the information. You sort of will start getting lost in this unending source of information, and forget that you got to use it somehow. You got to impart what you know. So if you know something, I'll give an example. For example, I do a lot of research for my astrology, and I know a lot more than I publish, actually, because I honestly don't get a lot of time to publish because I'm just reading a lot. And this is like a classic example where we have to convey what you know. You have to convey without, filtering the information to some extent. You have to become the messenger, the info center that people come to. People will come to you for information, not for opinions. They're coming to you for information. They'll come to you to find out what's going on. You'll help others become clear about their own thoughts, because you will be the objective intellectual exchange for them to go through. Imagine like you are this rock in between who has the objective information, and people are coming to you for that. Like I don't know if I can call you like a Google, like we'll become like Google maybe, but Google has too many opinions these days. So we sort of are moving from a phase, the axis that was is sort of activated the last 18 months was all about I feel needed, am I necessary, am I visible. You're becoming into I think and communicate. I think and I communicate. Blaze a trail in the field of communication. Be the sort of the conduit, the pioneer for new ideas, which are good for everybody. Enjoy the wit, the lightness of it. This is a lighter axis to be on as compared to what we had the last 18 months. This is a lighter way of thinking, a lighter way of being, sharing your childlike freshness with others. Aries, we have this playful, youthful energy in our mind, which world needs right now. Sharing that childlike joy within your mind, use that to sort of your sense of humor to connect with people. So if you sort of have to make connection with people instead of serious information or ideological information, share a joke, share a wit with them. This is the way to network right now. You'll get through people much easier with that. Don't try to make a conversation sort of because it's, don't make it like a job, don't make it like a responsibility. It is a connection in which you're enjoying a light wit with somebody. Do one-on-one communication. It's not a time to give a sermon like a community group, getting 25 people together and then preaching them. No. Get involved with that audience. Be in the middle of the audience. Even if you have to give a speech, be in the middle of them. Be well informed. Educate yourself. You're the knowledge center. It becomes your responsibility to know about world events. You will sort of attract larger than life personalities over here. It will happen because of your social magnetism. It's going to happen. You're going to attract a lot of people with very heavy opinions. Can you stay objective? Can you defend to some extent? Because what will happen is that many of those personalities will have strong opinions about things. So staying well informed is important. Response has to be objective, related to data, not related to ideology. So keeping yourself well updated. This is chatty, versatile, adaptable, quick-wit, curious, joyful, fast, news-related, travel-related, reading, writing, bonding with people, networking, acting, mimicry, quick learner energy. This is independent earning through successful interactions with each other, learning the art of negotiation, using technology, using distance learning, using networking, using commerce, using media, using travel in local community, learning to be tactful, seeing both sides of things, the fine art of communication without the whole hoopla that comes with it, being transparent in your communication. You'll be in public arena. This is the time when you'll be aspired to be in public arena, and you should be. Implement those inspired spiritual ideas that you've got in practical, playful comedy way. This is like, life is what you make out of it, and we are moving away from hot air into a little bit of lighter energy, and I personally would love to enjoy that. I think world needs a little bit more of this kind of energy than we have right now going on. So create your own life with simplicity, with joy, move through circumstances with ease. This is like you on one hand you'll be in playground with your kids, and another one you'll be in a boardroom. You're sort of going to flint through different options, and that's going to motivate you. Being multitasker will motivate you. Being multi-talented will motivate you. So in professions, multiple professions will appeal to you. Being a teacher, being an IT person, being an interpreter, being a PR person, being a caterer, being a filmmaker, being an artist, being a crafts person, being an entertainer, a business person, a musician, an actor, an entertainer, a comedian, journalism, mind person, a career, academy. I can just go on. You see where I'm coming from. These are the people who talk, who share information, who learn, who are adaptable, who have to use their charm, who have to be multitasker, who have to be affable. The negativity that we have to get rid of, which we have to stay away from, is the fickle nature that comes with it, the superficiality, where we can get so detached from our soulful purpose that we lose the morality of it all. So you have to keep your south node, the values, the higher knowledge, the spirituality that you have learned to keep you grounded while you butterfly your way through the social circles. So leave a marker so you can resurface. Leave a marker whenever you're about to do a research, whenever you're about to go for a meeting. Leave a marker. This is what I want out of this meeting. This is what I want out of this process. And don't forget your intuition. Your intuition will be your support system, your radar. Whenever you're about to go away from your value system, it will start ringing bells. As soon as you start going away from your higher purpose, there will be like a clear signal to you that will come from within, because that's what South Node does. It's our moksha. It's sort of like the pole of the flag. Without the pole, the flag is not going to be up. So your value system, your spirituality, your faith is going to be the pole. Your intuition, your heightened sense of spiritual insights and the psychic abilities to some extent that you have acquired over the course of Jupiter in Sagittarius last year is going to be your flagpole. You'll rely on that for the radar, but not for your monetary value. So that's what, I'm sorry this was a long video, but I hope it serves you for the next 18 months. Let me give you quickly some of the degrees of the eclipses, especially that are coming upon us. We have an eclipse on 5th of June that is happening at 15 degrees Sagittarius. This is a positive aspect with us, but specifically if you have planets around 15 degree of Aries, or if you're born around 5th of April, I would say 3 or 4 days before and after 5th of April, you'll feel this very strongly. There could be something that can be coming for immediate completion, which you sort of need to, it's like graduating from college or something. It's like, we have to get done with it. You have to deliver something that moves you to the next plane in life. So it will be pretty karmic, pretty fated, especially if you have planets around 15 degree of Aries, which is around 5th of April born. Then in November, we're going to have a lunar eclipse again in the house of Gemini, in your house of communication. That is happening at 9 degree. So if you have planets around 9 degree of Aries, which is around 28th of March born, then you got to be on lookout for that. What will happen over there is that this could be a contract coming for conclusion. You might be landing, this is where we gain something, so contract, and it's true for all of us. We'll be moving to the next level of commercial skill set, next level of a marketing media campaign that helps us grow, move forward. It will give us something as the next level of growth. This 30th November eclipse that is happening at 9 degrees. So if your planet's around 9 degree, if you're born around 28th of March, I would say 3 degrees before and after, 3 days before and after, you'll find yourself experiencing this very strongly. It will bring about some sudden fated opportunity that we sort of never thought we'll get so quickly, and it will be commercial in nature. And you'll start preparing for that in May itself. In May, we have a new moon. On 22nd of May, we have a new moon in this area of our life. All of us will initiate something new when it comes to media, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to communication, all the things that I just spoke about. We will initiate all of that new in May itself. So fated shifts are like once in a lifetime shifts, which will come, in my view, especially for people who have planets around 9 degree of Aries or born around 28th of March. And then in June, the opposite side of it, releasing something, completing something, moving, graduating from something, around 5th of June, which will be the first week, which will come with a bit of conflict. We'll have to get over some past that we have to move to the next sort of set of growth for us, and that's going to happen around 5th of June for us. I'll speak about the eclipses more in detail as well, but that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope this is helpful. I hope we truly make the best out of this transit. It's a beautiful one to have. Good luck. Thank you.